In this lesson, students should be able to explain basic terms used in describing waves such as amplitude, wavelength lambda, wave speed v, wave number k, pulse, ripples, phase, frequency f, linear velocity v, angular velocity w, period t, etc. See you in the lesson. In this session, we are looking at terms used in describing wave. First of all, we are going to be taking a wave profile. For a wave profile or a wave diagram, we also refer to it as a wave curve or sinusoidal wave. Here we have the line, we have that straight line there touching the zero axis or the x axis. We have the vertical axis is what? Y. Now from the the highest point here is referred to as what? Crest. It's referred as crest. Now, so let's connect it to the lowest point. Connect it to the lowest point. So the lowest point also is trough. That's the trough. So we have A. A is there represent the amplitude, and the distance between the crest is known as what? Wavelength or lambda. So let's define these terms. Now, in defining this term, what's amplitude? Now, amplitude is the maximum displacement. The amplitude is the maximum displacement from the zero, from the horizontal line x. The maximum displacement from the horizontal line x, and is measured in meter. The SI unit word is meter. So that's amplitude A. You can see it from where the crest is, which is the highest, the maximum vibration, to the X line there, which is the horizontal line or the zero line. We also refer to it as the rest position. The rest what? Position. So the maximum displacement from the rest position. Now we look at wavelength. What is wavelength? Here, wavelength is the distance between successive crests or trough. It is the distance between successive crest or trough, and is measured in meter. The SI unit is what? Is in meter. Again, we look at circles. Circles or oscillation. Circles or what? Oscillation. We'll talk about circles or oscillation. Here, a cycle is a complete oscillation. A cycle is what? A complete oscillation. Now, with the diagram, here you can see a little diagram here. This is a semicircle. When you add another, that gives you a circle. So a circle is a complete oscillation. And again, we look at the next term is what? Wave speed. Wave speed. Here, the wave speed is the time rate of change of displacement. The wave speed is time rate of change of what? Displacement. We'll talk about time rate of change of displacement here. Displacement here is talking about what? Lambda or wavelength. So we can also say that wavelength is time rate of change of what? Wavelength. So we can also define it like that. But there are some terms we left behind here, but we'll come back to frequency and period. But let's look at what? Phase. Phase is another key term used in describing what? Wave. Here, a phase is the position of a particle in a progressive wave. The position of a particle in a progressive wave. Here, for example, if we have here 0 and we have A, another particle here is what? A. We have another particle here, B, another one here, C, another D, then we have C, D, E, and what? F, and so on. So we can put E and what? G. Now we said the phase is the position of what? The position of a particle in a progressive wave. And we can see that here A, we can see that A For example, let us S here and what Y. Supposing we add S and Y. Now we can say that A, B, F, and E, they are in the same phase. They are what? In the same phase. They are in the same phase. So like we said, that phase is the position of a particle in a progressive wave. So that is that. So let's go to what? Pulse. When we're talking about pulse, what are we talking about? Pulse is a sudden change in a wave. The sudden change what? In a wave. Then go straight to the next one. The next one is what? Trough. What is a trough? What is a trough? From what we have from the diagram, we see that a trough refers to what? The minimal displacement. The minimal displacement of what? Of a particle in a progressive wave. Then for crest refers to what? The maximum displacement of a particle for a progressive wave. Now there are two things left now we've not talked about. Two things left now we have not talked about. We have what? The frequency and period. Frequency and what? Period. Frequency is the number of cycles performed in seconds. Frequency is the number of cycles performed in a second. So what is that? Now, for example, we refer to this as a cycle already. Now we can have this. We have 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and what? 4. Now, supposing this distance, if we measure this distance is what? 1 second. We discover that how many circles we have here right now? We have 2 circles. 2 circles made up of what? 4 semicircles. That makes up 1 second. So that's why we refer to what? Frequency as the number of circles per second. And I round up with this. Which is period. Period is the time taken to complete 1 circle. The period is the time taken to complete 1 circle. If I draw a diagram like this, for example, this is a circle. The period is time taken to what? To complete 1 circle. And the SI unit is what? Seconds. I didn't mention the SI unit of what? Frequency. Frequency is what? Measured in hertz. Frequency is measured in what? In hertz. HTRZ. And the symbol is what? AZ. Period is measured in what? In seconds. Period is what? Measured in seconds. Then for wave speed is what? Measured in what? Meter per seconds. And these are the quantities that have the SI unit. For amplitude is measured what? In meter. Wavelength lambda is measured what? In meter. So with this, I will stop in this session. Thanks. In the lesson ahead, please be prepared to leave in the comment section questions and state area of difficulty. Looking forward to see you there.